Today I'm going to quickly explain how I design a pond for ducks. I'm going to show you two options, cheap and quick first, then a much nicer option for you and the ducks. If you don't know me, my name is Kev, and the aim of my channel is to help people build and maintain a pond without spending a fortune. If that sounds like something that interests you, you might like to subscribe and check out my website ozponds.com for helpful guides and products. The first thing we need to know is how many ducks. There's some guides online that can help you decide how much water you're going to need per duck. Waste builds up quicker in a smaller volume of water, and therefore the more water volume I can have, the better. To decide what kind of pond I'm going to build, I need to know what area I have to work with. If it's a small area and I can't get the amount of water volume that I want, then I'm going to create a pond that's easy to do water changes on and clean. But if I have a complete blank canvas and a decent budget, then I'm going to create something special. So first, let's say that space is limited, so we'll start with the cheap small option first. That's going to be some kind of plastic tub or trough. I'd like to have a bottom drain or valve that I can open to empty the water and waste that gets built up. I'd like that waste to be able to be used on the garden, so it's not a complete waste. For filtration, I'd be looking at a high flow filter whose main purpose is to capture the sediment, well, the duck poo. And because it's small, I'm not even going to kid myself that I can build something that won't require any water changes or waste removal. On the bigger pond I think we can, but not this cheap quick pond. Like the pond, I want this high flow filter to be easy to clean. Again, I need to do it more than I'd like to, so it needs to be easy. Having a valve that makes it easy to purge the filter would be a good idea. I'll use sponges as the media, as they're going to trap sediments and be easier to clean. Matilla mat or Jap mat are good options that I would use, and there's links on ozponds.com if you'd like to know what I'm talking about. For the pump, I'm going to get something that'll circulate the pond water at least once per hour, and I'm going to run it 24/7. There's good low volt energy efficient options, and I have links on the website if you don't know what you're looking for. I'm going to keep the pump up off the bottom of the pond so that it's not sucking up the worst of the gunk. I can remove that gunk with the bottom flush valve. I might sit the pump in a milk crate or something similar and surround it with the same coarse sponge as in the filter. And that's going to help reduce how often I actually need to remove the pump and clean it, because that's annoying. I'm also thinking I'd just cable tie the sponges to the sides of the crate and create a hole somewhere for the pipe, but feel free to do whatever you think is best. For maintenance, I'm going to assume that I'm going to need to do a water change and a filter flush every week, maybe every second week if I'm lucky. The good news is, the way that it's designed, I don't imagine that that's going to take me more than 15 minutes to half an hour. So that's the quick and cheap option. It might be hard to try and make it look pretty if there's a few ducks confined in a small area, and they are messy and sometimes destructive. That's why it's better if you can keep animals in a decent amount of space. I know I'm more happy in open spaces, but sometimes we don't have a choice, I guess. Okay, so now if I get to do it right, then I'm going to create something amazing, and it's going to be low maintenance. When you have the room, it does make maintenance much easier, because you've got the same amount of waste in a larger body of water. But that will cost more in materials and time. The good news is you can do it yourself and save a shed load. I think I'd ideally, if I wanted to keep it really low maintenance and looking good, I'd like to have one duck for every 5,000 litres. That's about 12,000 gallons of water. And for my filtration, I'm going to have a bog filter sized at 20 to 25% of the pond's volume. And this filter will be like a headwater or a spring or wetland that feeds the main pond, and I'll connect them with a little stream. I also want to include a dedicated mechanical filter to help remove as much waste as I can. This will be something similar to the previous cheaper pond we just talked about. Sponges, a high flow of water, and an easy way to clean. And I'm going to flush this filter once a week or every second week. Because the pond is a decent size, I'll also add some jets to help water circulation, as well as an aerator. I will be running more than one pump for this, one for the circulation jets, and one, possibly two for the bulk filter, depending on the size, and one for a dedicated high-flow mechanical filter. The pumps will live in an intake bay, or if I have a decent slope, I might use a negative edge with a storage reservoir. If you're not sure what they are, I'll leave a link in the description, but having the pumps out of the main pond will mean I hardly ever need to clean them. They're just going to hum along. When I dig the pond, I'm going to have shelves that I can easily place large rocks on. The shelves will have varying widths and depths to create a more natural look. I'll backfill with pebble and place pebble as a substrate. It's going to get a bit dirty over time, but I don't care as it gives the liner some extra protection, it gives more surface area for good bacteria, and hiding spots for tiny beneficial organisms. Once or twice a year, I will use a pond vac or a dirty water pump to remove excess waste from the bulk filter and the pond itself. Because of this, I don't want the pebble to be too small. The pond will be waterproofed with EPDM rubber liner, and I would use GE textile to further protect the liner. The liner is going to be my single biggest expense, so I don't want to cut corners here. To figure out the size of my pumps, filters, plumbing lines, liner, underlayment and rock needed, I'm going to use my formulas blueprint download. This has a bunch of formulas that take the guesswork out of sizing everything. Because every pond is different, but filtering water is the same, I find it very useful when designing my ponds. And you can find that at ozponds.com if you want to use it as well. The way this pond is designed, it should provide a wonderful habitat for the ducks and also look amazing for me to sit and enjoy as well. So that's just how I do it. If you have other ideas, put them in the comments. I hope this video was helpful, and if you enjoyed it, you might like to watch this next one. Thanks for watching. See ya.